Hey, it's Russ with Wing Saber Historical Fencing, and this is in comment to a not quite question, but an objection to a very typical movement being, ew, that's awful and gross. And the very typical movement is, I feint to chest, I come back, and I hit head. So how would I make this happen as a coupe action? That is a pulling back and hitting action. Well, there's two answers for this, okay? The first is it's harder to pull off today than it was in the early 20th century because at that point most people are taking their fours here, especially if they're Italian trained, because they want to engage in transport actions and other actions on the blade so they can attack in opposition and shut down the remise after attack game. And Kat and I will get into something like that a little bit later on in the following video so you can see it. If I'm parrying four here, you can see where that coupe action would have to be a lot sharper and harder, requiring more of a pullback than if I take my fourth here. Third, fourth, right? As opposed to third, fourth, as we typically see in the modern and especially epee-pilled systems where everybody is not here, but here, because they're trying to minimize their target and minimize their lever arms for maximum footwork and acceleration. So if the blade is here, their tip is coming up over our tip. So by bending the elbow, the vector of their attack no longer applies, and I can hit them. In the process, if you've done your homework and you've done lots of this, and lots of this, and lots of this, and we have videos showing this for the lightsaber people, pointy elbow, dead droid, pointy elbow, dead droid. As my lightsaber people are now screaming into the YouTube if they happen to watch this, no, you'll never get away from it. And the reason you never get away from it is, I can choose how far back I come. So pulling the point up isn't just pulling it up, it's also pulling it backwards. So here's the line of this outlet. Here's my feint. Right about the time their parry starts to look really good, when I pull that tip up, look how far I've gone. They're not catching my blade now. That becomes an easy no-brainer of a hit. So the answer is the more you do this, the better off you are. And I've talked about it in the past, but one of the things you want to do while practicing that, this has to let go for this to fire effectively, and for these muscles to fire effectively. So when you're on the extension, think about relaxing the bicep. When you're on the retraction, think about relaxing the tricep back and forth to the point where it almost feels like the relaxing muscles lengthening is what's pushing the forearm back and forth. When you sense that, this practice will make you looser rather than tighter. You'll be able to throw more of these cuts rather than fewer of them. And the amount of granularity you'll have in the targeting will hugely increase. Plus, you'll become relaxed through your upper arms in a way that lots of folks are like, how'd that work? If I'm focused on contract, 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 what am I training my body to do? Contract. Training relax, 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 relax. I'm training to relax. Alternate sport, pardon me for my diction, I'm coming off a cold, so this round of videos editing is gonna have me sounding like I'm old and wheezy. Different sport, Katie Ledecky. She is the goddess of swimming. And it's not just because she has like 9,000 foot arms like her male counterpart god of swimming, but because when she gets tired, her form gets better. Her form gets better because she's relaxing into her strokes. We also need to be relaxing into our strokes. Pay attention to the muscles that are supposed to be letting go. And the muscles that are supposed to contract will be able to do more work for less effort because you're no longer driving with the parking brake on. A metaphor my clients have heard until they're absolutely sick of it. They can practically end the sentence for me every time. But it's true. If you don't release the muscles, the other muscles have a much harder time working. All right, thanks. Have fun and go do the thing back and forthly.
We've got more videos and content coming, so if you liked what you saw and it was useful for you, please stab the like button, /subscribe, and punch the little bell icon so that you're notified immediately when new content comes available. Thanks, and go do the thing.